Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How are you doing today? Michael Zuber with One Rental at a Time. And what we are going to do with Stephen Dow here is we're going to talk about the evolution of non-QM lenders. I've talked about it. We've talked about a lot of how they can help you today, but I think it's important for us to realize how they started, how they grew, and why they've always had a kind of a customer mindset. So let's welcome Stephen to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing well, man. So what I want to talk about is really what I have seen, right? This is Mike Zuber's opinion. But before we get to that, we got to do that marketing spiel so we both don't get in trouble. Once you knock that out first.
Again, I'll work for Velocity Mortgage Capital. All the ideas and topics we discuss on the show are that of my own, and let's get it going.
Yeah, thank you for that. So really, when I think about non-QM lenders, again, the people between hard money and bank money, when they've been around a while, right? I think Velocity, if I looked it up, is founded in or started in 2004, right? 2004 right. Period. Yep. Okay. And what I really saw in that space is first things they kind of did is they kind of mirrored hard money in this respect, i.e. short term, right? We're going to take on projects. We're going to do onesie, twosie, 3-year kind of short term with a balloon payment at the end. And really what their idea was is we'll be more friendly, right? A little more flexible, but really the selling pitch is, hey, we're cheaper than hard money, right? That was kind of the story. Hey, why go hard money? You know, why pay 12 when you could pay 7 or whatever the rate, or 8 or whatever the rates were. That's where they kind of started. Is that, again, my opinion, is that a fair assessment of how it all started?
It's approximately, well, there's some of that to some degree as to why that segment of the industry came about. But I think it mainly came more about from the subprime mortgage days. Okay. So it's similar to that, but much more restrictive because, you know, certain laws had passed due to like Dodd-Frank and things of that nature, where you still do alternative financing, but you couldn't do it on certain property types and things of that nature. So it protected the consumer almost from themselves in a sense. If they don't fully understand the loan instrument that they're getting into, sometimes if they're doing it on their primary residence, now you got a bunch of people in the streets. So, you know, the federal government kind of said, hey, you know, we don't have a ton of foreclosures, but we'll allow you to kind of play in this somewhat, you know, gray area, which then was created in the non-QM lender space.
Nice. And I believe, but I just want to ask and verify, and if you don't know, it's cool, but I believe non-QMs have never been able to play in owner-occ territory. Is that true?
That is mainly true due to Dodd-Frank. If you go by the actual verbatim law, but there are lenders out there that kind of play in this gray area. I'll be honest with you, you can research them, but they utilize certain CPA letters and things of that nature, which is just
not cool.
If push came to shove, and you're in a court of law, it's kind of really like, it's not a space that we want to play in. Because the risk isn't really worth the reward for us. You know, we do plenty of business the right way on non-owner occupied 1 to 4 unit. So it's just not really worth it to us. But that's correct.
Yeah, there's always people that want to skate by the law. But again, Velocity Mortgage does not play in owner-occ territory.
No.
There you go.
Not a 1 to 4 units.
There you go. That's the answer.
But you can apartment hack though.
Yeah.
So 5 or more units, you can do one of the units, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Apartments, multifamily, commercial, residential, different game. I was referring to residential.
Correct.
Totally correct.
Yes,
all right. And then what I saw in the non-QM space as the market evolved, right? Because again, right, you start in 04, it's definitely a hot buyer's market, market collapses, rolls over, foreclosures. Yep. Right around 2010, 2011, what I saw in non-QM lenders is here's the deal, right? They started filling a need. There was a time where banks simply said no. And the only answer was a hard money lender because prices were falling. So, I mean, people don't remember this, but they were falling 5% a month in some markets.
I know.
Right? Talk about trying to get an appraisal done in a freaking market that's falling 5% a month. I mean, it's crazy. There was a time where like 70% of the closed transactions were foreclosures or short sales. I mean, I was in the thick of it. What really happened, and I saw some lenders like the Norris Group, they're a California lender who I socialized with, Bruce Norris at the time. They started creating brand new programs. They were big flippers in Southern California, Riverside, as I remember specifically. So they actually created a fix and flip program. That was the first thing they did. And I think that was pretty common in the non-QM space. We're like, oh man, flipping's going to work. They're going to buy it right.
Right.
Banks can't say yes because of appraisal issues, and Dodd-Frank's all new at the time. And they're like, no, we're not playing here. Investors are bad.
Right.
But they started doing fix and flip because they saw it was a profitable business. And I got to tell you, if non-QM lenders didn't come in, the market would have fell further, because if you can't do that, then you're paying cash. And there was about an 18-month period where all I could do was pay cash for stuff. And you had to get it ridiculously cheap. So I think the fix and flip programs were the first thing. And again, the whole thing was to buy it, fix it up, sell it. It was, I think they were like 12, they might've been 12 months with a 6-month add-on, but that's where they started again, filling a need. Is my memory somewhat close?
It's a combination of that, I think, because again, for the turnkey ready investor versus the fix and flip, they were still out there and they were still in need of financing, because again, if you ideally went for conventional financing first, but if you're a real legitimate investor and you've got more than 10 doors, you've hit that limit. So then now, instead of going straight to hard money, we kind of filled in that space because we found it was still profitable to be in that space, but not have to kind of give them such, harsh terms. So Wall Street really started to kind of come back around and see that, hey, the real estate market's kind of making a comeback. Things are starting to stabilize. So we can still do these, unconventional loans or non-bank type loans, but not be as risky as they were in the past because of how we kind of underwrite differently versus how, non-QM or subprime loans is what they were called back in the days, as far as, stated income or things of that nature. We still have that particular feature with our loans, but we underwrite, slightly differently.
Yeah. And then the last thing, again, what I've seen I guess where I'm going with this history lesson or timeline is non-QM lenders are very flexible to the market, right? They understand what customers want. And oh, by the way, it's their money, right? They can operate and create any program that is interesting. So what I saw non-QM lenders do next is they actually started offering 30-year money. The first thing I remember is it was basically buy a distressed asset and then flip to permanent financing, right? And then there was, you're going to be a buy and hold investor, like a la one rental at a time. Let's give you 30-year money. Because again, there were lots of people that couldn't get a yes answer from a bank. There was a time where it wasn't even 10, right? There was a time where no bank would go above 4, and non-QM lenders became the answer. So I remember. Do you remember when 30-year money became really a more than a one-off, but it actually became a program? Do you think it was like 2014, 15, or what do you think?
For at least for us, I would have to say 2017.
Okay.
I think 2018 is
that would make sense.
30. Yeah. But we were seeing a lot more of the buy and holds versus the fix and flips.
It's a great business, folks. Let me tell you, buy and hold is where you build wealth. Flipping is where you have buy and holds wealth. One rental at a time. Read the book. That's fun. Yeah. So again, I guess what I was going with this is what I've seen in the non-QM space is a lot more flexibility, a lot more understanding the market. And I can't wait to see what's coming next. It's going to be interesting to see where this market goes. I think more inventory is coming. I think it's going to be like the assembly line. The other thing I think you do is you do portfolio loans. In theory, you could put 10 properties together, create some number and lend on that, right? That's something else you can do.
That's exactly. It's so funny you brought that up. I'm actually talking to one of your other students who I think he mentioned he'd been interviewed on your channel as well in the past, but same situation. He's got a deal right now, 20 properties, a little over $1 million or so, I believe. So it fit in perfectly with our parameters, because with a portfolio loan, each property including the portfolio only needs to be valued at $50,000 or more. That's it.
Yeah, that's the key to this is what I've seen from non-QM lenders. And again, I think it will continue to evolve. Is when you reach out to them and you tell them what you're doing, you'd be shocked at how flexible they are. I think bank loans, there's a box, right? And you got to check all the boxes, and you have an outlier and it's like, nope. Right. I think, again, I don't know if I'd say this to a bank, but what I feel a bank does is they're looking to say no. What I see in non-QM lenders and Velocity Mortgage is you're looking to say yes. And I think that's a totally different attitude.
Correct. Agreed. Because again, with our types of loans, it's just, we never expect them to be kind of cookie cutter and there's no box because it's so much moving parts to the situation when it comes to investment financing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we kind of roll with the punches for the most part. There's not a lot of, stuff that happens that we won't be able to kind of work around for the most part. There's only, slight line in the sand type of stuff that's deal killers, but for the most part, we can be pretty flexible to make sure that the deal happens. So sometimes you just can't control stuff and things happen, out of your control, but we typically work things out.
Yeah, folks, if you're in this game, you're one of my students for sure, and you think you can't get a bank loan or the property or whatever it is, do yourself a favor, watch some of the videos with Steven, get a feel for who he is. There's hours of material, his own playlist, but email him. Just have a conversation. The first conversation should be longer. Tell him what you're doing. Tell him where you're doing it. Tell him the price points. Tell him your credit or estimated credit, and see if you can get a yes answer. The only thing I ask from Steven is he's quick. If the answer is no, the answer is no. I can tell you this, some of the no's I've heard is owner-occ, construction loans or no as well, correct? Right? There's a couple of
no ground up. I mean, we can do the rehab
right
as far as a certain amount
no ground up
of cosmetics, no ground up.
Yeah. So again, there are some things we already know, but if it's not one of those, give him a shot, give him a call, but always get cheap bank money first. If you're in that, if you have a W-2, great credit, down payment, go get the bank money, 30-year fixed. If you can't, for some reason, then you come here. Steven, I want to thank you for coming back to the show. Congratulations on your new home. Congratulations on being a good son, moving your mom in. That's awesome to hear about. So have a great weekend, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. You too. Take care. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you. Oh, is that this weekend? Oh, shoot.
Yes, sir. Oh, look at you all.
I didn't know.
For the kid. Don't even remember.
I don't even remember.
Oh, man. Thanks, Mike.